they in this second division, they have kind of like lots of the mathematical algorithm.
Okay.
So, mm, which features like summary and total sentence, we can get a basic concept of this algorithm later.
Okay.
While in IMRD method, I have no idea.
Okay, but for most of us who are here, it's the IPTC that's important. If you have an algorithm or you have this big long thing, this proof of a math, whatever, and you just start plunging right into it, and your audience, where are we going? Okay, you have to tell your audience first, we're going here. There are 4 main steps, A, B, C, D. And then you say, here's step A. Okay, again, Google Maps does this, right? It has, we're going from here to there. This is the step 1, and you can expand it. Here's step 2, you can expand it. And it's the same thing. You know, you look first, oh, we're going from here to the highway. We're going from the highway to this road, this exit. And then if you look at the details, then it goes through all that. Same thing with a paper. You give them, here's our destination, here are the big steps, so that they know, again, they're expecting, they know how to get there. And they know, oh yeah, I know how to get from here to the highway. I don't need to pay attention to that. I'll skip and start reading at step B. Okay, that's the purpose for this, to help your reader read more effectively. It's the idea of old versus new information. If in science, you're dealing with old information. People know these methods. It's like, oh yeah, here to the highway, no problem. I don't need you to tell me all the steps. Whereas in engineering, it's that new information. I've never been there. No one's ever been there, because I just developed it. So that's where you need an extended style, extended directions. Okay, that's the basic idea. And in review articles also, you have this, a lot of, even though it's old information, but there's so much of it. So you have these summaries and topic sentences and all these organizational features are also important in review articles, just because there's so much information and people don't know how you're putting it together. Okay, so now we're going to actually do the this exercise 5.1. We're going to look for these components. Before we do that, Wenhui is going to share with us a little bit about her article and what she found about these components there. Okay.
Hello everyone, my name is Wenhui. What I want to report today is process. I will give my example as an example. The author in this example proposed a new natural language model called BERT, and the structure of this example is typical IPTC. In this example, I think process include the session 3, BERT, and session 4, experiments. This table and subtitle, components, citations, and word count information. Section 3 mentions the research details and framework components, and Section 4 mentions the testing methods and comparison components. Section 3 roughly talks about what framework and techniques they use for this model BERT. This section describes the research details and framework component, explain how they design the model. Section 3.1 is titled Pre-training BERT. The content roughly talks about the pre-training model used by the author that is different from other NLP models, and also describe what techniques they use, such as MASK, LM, and next sentence prediction, NSP. Section 3.2, titled Fine-tuning BERT. This section talks about the self-attention mechanism in transformer. Let fine-tuning be straightforward. This also allows the BERT model to perform downstream tests through fine-tuning. This section also talks about the advantage of fine-tuning. And Section 4 presents BERT fine-tuning results on different NLP tests. The writing method used in this section is intermediate testing, which means that it will be written in the manner of experiment testing. So I classify it in the process division. This section describes the testing methods and comparison components. The section 4.1 talks about a natural language understanding test, GLUE, and the experiment results show that BERT is the best. The following sections are all about the same thing, which is to show the experimental results and show that in different tests, BERT's performance can be the best. BERT is faster. Okay, my report ends here. Thank you all.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. Okay, let's go back and look at a couple things here. I'm not sure, are these on the whole? I mean, is BERT finished at this point? Or is BERT still being developed when they do these tests?
可以讲中文吗？
可以。
就是他们在第4章是用他们提出来的那个模型，然后用不同的任务去跑，然后去比较结果这样。
Yeah, but these are all on BERT, not parts of BERT. 就是全部的 BERT 不是一部分的吧？全部的。
就是提出来的 BERT。
Okay, so if these are on BERT, this probably should be called testing. Okay, this is probably the testing
就
division.
是他这篇论文，他还有一个章节叫做整合测试，就是这边第4章是就是测每一个，就是它有不同任务的执行的表现。那它还有一个最后的整合测试，它还有做别的，就是我觉得那个比较像是 testing， 然后这个才比较像 process。
Okay, well, we'll have to look. Again, this is where it's difficult, right? It's difficult sometimes to say, you know, where is it finished enough to call it final testing? Because engineering, it's never good enough, right? You're always trying to make it better. So it's like, this is the final for this paper. And that's where you call it testing. But we'll have to look at this and see. I mean, the fact that you talk about testing method and comparison, this seems more like testing to me. It seems more like it's comparing with other models rather than setting parameters for BERT. I think in this case, the parameter setting is probably up here, but we'll see. But if you look at this, as she said, this is 3.1. Before 3.1, you have this introductory paragraph. We introduced BERT. There are 2 steps, pre-training and fine training. So they're telling you in section 3.1, we're going to look at pre-training. 3.2, we're going to look at fine training. They're telling you where they're going. So you know, again, you know what's coming before you get there. And where was it? In one of these, yeah, here. When they get down to here, they're using a data set. Okay? So again, this then becomes data set testing, because they're using a fixed data set. This is why I think this is probably testing, but I'm not sure. We'll have to look at it. But sometimes you can use data set testing intermediate as well. You test on one database, then you continue training, then you test on another database for your final. So it's hard to say. But this is what you'll see if it's data set testing, you see that word. Yeah, okay. So what she didn't really show us there is the is exercise 5.1 itself. Here's what I'd like you to do for the next half hour or so. Go through and identify the components, just like we did for the introduction. All right? Identify the components. Identify the component markers. Oh, wait, this is going to be difficult. Because, again, the problem in process is that it's dealing with research details. And research details differ for every paper. So they don't have the same sort of markers that you have for all these others, because it's specific to this work. So how do you identify this? Often you can identify this just by the section title. You don't need to go through all of the every single paragraph. All right? Because if your goal is to develop BERT and the section says pre-training BERT and fine-tuning BERT, then you know that must be your research details. So don't get stuck with the component markers, because you don't have the howevers. You don't have in this paper we. You don't have that same kind of common marker across all things for research details. Testing, you might. Data set testing. Data set, marker, okay. Prototype, marker for physical testing, okay. So in testing, again, you often have clear markers. But simulation, for simulation testing, all of those are clear markers for testing. Not so much for research details. So don't get tied up with that. Look for the component markers for framework, if you can find it, and for testing, section titles are usually enough to tell you where it's talking about research details, if the paper's well written. Okay? So that's the hint, right? Look for the section, subsection titles, and there are more hints. So then the question is, does the second division follow these in the expected order? And are there organizational features like an introductory paragraph? I want you to note this because if it is, then you also need to write an introductory paragraph. Most of you will need to. Okay. Yeah. So let's spend again. We'll spend about half an hour on this, looking at one of your articles, identifying the components in each paragraph, and any particular component markers that you have.